All right, guys, today we're going to be talking about Hebrew cosmology. The reason why we're talking about Hebrew cosmology is very simple. Okay, if we're living on a ball that is moving around the sun, Earth very likely came from the sun. This is very, very logical to think that, look, the sun is 865,000 miles in diameter. The Earth is 8,000 miles in diameter. It's 93 million miles away. We're moving around it. All of the other planets are moving around it. You can see Venus and Mercury on the interior orbit closer to the sun than the Earth. The Earth came from the sun, right? God could have created it that way, but the Bible doesn't say he did. So if the Bible's wrong and you're going to say, well, God did it this way, but man said God did it this way, and this is the word of God, that doesn't work. Right? If we are living in a heliocentric model, there is just as good of a probability that the earth came from the sun as that God created the earth. And that's just the honest truth. I mean, that is why this is such an important debate, because if I take the ball and I put the ball stationary where everything is moving around the ball, then all of a sudden it's a different model where God created everything and the Big Bang is impossible, right? If Earth is at the center and everything's moving around the Earth, the Big Bang is impossible. The only logical conclusion is that there is a God. That is why if the heliocentric model is a lie, it is the biggest deception in human history. Do I believe you have to believe the Earth is flat to go to heaven? Absolutely not. Do I believe you have to believe in a geostationary universe to have the grace of God? Absolutely not. But I do think that you probably need to believe in God, right? And if you're telling people that Earth revolves around the sun, people are smart. If Earth is revolving around the sun, why would God create it that way? Especially when you read the book of Genesis that says God created the sun on the fourth day. It's ludicrous. Doesn't make sense. That's why if the Bible is really inspired, which it is, I believe it is, then the earth is stationary. This works for a biblical model, except for the fact that the Bible tells you that the earth is laid out on four corners. And when we look in infrared and we break through the haze, we break through the water vapor, or you go out on the beach on the right day with the right atmospheric conditions, you can see much further than you should be able to see. So what the globe model will say is it's refraction, that you're looking at an object over here, and because the light is bending down, it's bending down over the surface of the earth, right? So you're seeing the light coming straight into your eyes. But if you're on a flat earth and refraction is shining straight, the light is still bending down, but instead of hitting your eyes, it's going to eventually hit the ground, right? I mean, that only makes sense, which is going to obscure an object from the bottom up, especially over water, where you have that density layer really being impacted by, the currents and things that are going on over bodies of water, which is why visibility changes. The horizon changes day to day, not necessarily objects in the distance because of refraction. Refraction on a flat earth is going to cause the light to bend down, right? Refraction on the globe is going to cause the light to bend down. But again, it's going to bend down. If light is coming this way, right, then it's going to bend down over the surface. It's going to hit my eye like this, right? On a flat surface, it's going to bend down and it's going to hit the ground, obscuring objects from the bottom up. So geocentricity is a good model. It works with the Bible, except for the four-cornered verses. This is the map that I use. Right? And what you'll notice is that there is no ring of Antarctica going around the edge. The reason why there is no ring going around the edge is because I can't get the map to triangulate right in the South Pacific when the ring is going around the edge. But if you put it like this and you say, okay, everything is on one side, this is an equidistant map. I'm not sure exactly who created this map, but I love it because it positions everything correctly in the center, right? And it kind of fixes Greenland. Now, if you look at Africa and Australia is a little bit too big. But it doesn't matter when you're looking at this map because everything triangulates in the middle, right? You can format it in a way where everything in the middle is going to triangulate. Then you have a circle on the exterior, right? And if you, instead of saying, okay, you would have to go around this way, if you say, look, God is God, okay? If I create an AI in a computer screen, it lives in my computer, right? It can't break out of that box. If it gets to the end of the program, it's got to come out the other side. Look at Pac-Man, right? Pac-Man is confined to Pac-Man's world. Pac-Man comes out on this side, he comes out that side. And it's because of the structure of the program that we've created, right? Pac-Man can't come into our world. So the only thing Pac-Man can do is I can go to the edge, right? The sun, the moon, and the stars can go to the edge. And when they do, or when we do, we're going to come out the other side, right? It works like Pac-Man. People make fun of it and say, oh, it's Pac-Man Earth. But if we look at the biblical description, this is exactly what the Bible describes. And especially when you look at it from the perspective of the book of Enoch. So when we look at the biblical description of the angel in the earth, the angel waving his sword in every direction after we were kicked out of the Garden of Eden, the angel is preventing our access. Now, the book of Enoch tells us that the Garden of Eden, or the Garden of Righteousness, takes up a whole third of the earth, right? So literally a third of the earth is missing. And let's say you put the Garden of Eden over here as this big 1/3 of the earth, mass of land, right? And you're traveling and you're trying to get to the Garden of Eden. Well, you're not going to be able to get there. Okay. You're going to be blocked because there's an angel waving a sword in every direction, creating a reset line. You are confined to this creation, and God is higher than us. Okay. So everything that we can experience in the three-dimensional world, and what proves God is higher than us in the Bible is Jesus walked through walls, right? In order to walk through a wall, you have to have access to four-dimensional space. You have to have at least one extra dimension. And the extra dimension, we're not going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about the map. Just get your head around. There are extra dimensions. When you're looking up at the sky in the north, okay, instead of having to, on the south, move all the way around the circle with the circumpolar motion, the stars are like this, right? Remember, the sky's like a mirror. We're going to be looking at that, how that works. But when you're looking up at the southern circumpolar motion, or you're looking up at the northern circumpolar motion in the south, instead of like with the ring of Antarctica having to bring that circumpolar motion all the way around, it's here. Right? It's right here. Everything is centered in the sky, and it's exactly what the Bible tells us. So I'll see you in the next video.